Hi and welcome to another tutorial on the minor arcana of the Thoth deck, and today I'm going to have a little look at the Three of Cups, which looks like this, if you can see in that light, and we've got Mercury in Cancer with this card. Seems like a fairly straightforward card. Three of Cups, often to do with friendships and even sometimes fertility in birth. This is the Rider-Waite version, as you can see with the three ladies holding up the cups there. All seems rosy in the garden. Got a book the other day in Glastonbury. It's £3, lovely little book, which is called 78 Paths to Personal Development, and that's the title Spiritual Tarot, which thing that attracted me to it. One of the things it says with regards to the Three of Cups is, I am the ritual of celebration. I remind you of things that have worked out well and life's problems that have been solved by joining forces with family and friends. Take time now to recognise your accomplishments and honour the people who have helped you along the way. Cherish your associations. Good results are seldom achieved alone. So, it is a positive card, but as we would expect with Mr. Crowley, he does have a warning with this card. So we'll have a look at that in the last part of the video. And there's also a lot of mythology associated with this card, believe it or not, and we'll look at that next. Okay, on to a detailed description of the card now. We've got the three cups here, the first one elevated above the other two. Cups covered in pomegranates, which are the basis of the mythology behind the card. We've got the 8 lotus flowers, and we've got Mercury in Cancer. And the background of the card is very positive. You've got the blue dark sea contrasting with the light blue sky. The pomegranates are associated with Persephone, who was basically abducted by Hades or Pluto and taken to the underworld. And it was only after 6 days of not eating that she finally gave in to her hunger and ate a pomegranate. And this she knew, if she ate anything in the underworld, that she would be indebted to Pluto and she would have to stay there. So after giving in to temptation, she was imprisoned there, and it was only the efforts of Zeus which helped her to return back to her mother, Demeter. And her mother is associated with the springtime, which is fertility, which is to do with this card. And when her daughter returns for the 8 months that she's allowed to live with her, then springtime comes. But in the 4 months she has to stay with Pluto in the underworld, then her mother Demeter does not assist in the fertility of the flowers and the land. So there you have it in a nutshell. Okay, so that's the mythology behind the card. And if we go on to, we'll just look at the Rider-Waite version. There you have again a celebration with 3 people holding up 3 cups, and you've got the fruit down here. So the overall theme of the card is one of abundance, joy and celebration. It's associated with B.O.T.A, which is the third Sephiroth here, which is the sea. It's been likened to a sea. It actually means understanding, and it really gives form to the love that has been developed coming down from Keta and into Hokmar, which is associated with the Two of Cups, which we've looked at, and it finally gives birth to form in the 3. So here we have love expressed in specific situations, such as close friendships, for instance. Again, this B.O.T.A is associated with the magician, who's all about creating things. So again, this card is associated with creativity and abundance. Going on to the decan quickly, we've got Mercury in Cancer. So if we look for where Cancer is, we've got here, and Mercury is 10 to 20 degrees in the decan, and we've got 3 of Cups there. Okay, so the images that I've got here are just of Pluto abducting Persephone here, with her mother Demeter trying to stop the situation. He came in his chariot. And again, a lovely picture of her reunited with her mother, and the springtime and fertility that you have in the background there. Okay, so we go back to the card itself. Looking at the astrology, we've got Cancer, which is the most maternal of the signs and is well placed in B.O.T.A, which is all to do with the Great Sea and nurturing. Mercury in Cancer people, these people tend to communicate with feeling, conveying a sensitive, sometimes withdrawn but a thoughtful nature to the people that they interact with. Mercury is the will and communication, and Cancer is to do with, as I said, nurturing. So here the card is indicating through the astrology that we're able to express our feelings fully with people that we are close to, and this enriches our life. So it's finding what's important to us and expressing our joy in that. Okay, if we go on to the symbology of the lotuses, you've got 8 lotus flowers here, which is to do, if we go back to this diagram, Hod here, which is all about, well, Hod is ruled by Mercury, which is to do with communication. 8 is also the number of months that Persephone resided in the land of the living. So symbology in the number 8 there. It was also Mercury that relayed the message from Zeus begging for Persephone's release from Pluto. So again, the number 8 comes in there. The 7 streams here from the cups, that's 7 is to do with the number, go to the 7th Sephiroth here, which is Netzach, and that's ruled by Venus. So it symbolises love uniting Persephone and Demeter, her mother. Or on another level, it represents the uniting of the cups and the sea. So it's the uniting of this. The pomegranates, basically they're the riches that we have experienced emotionally through nurturing and friendship. 3 cups, 1 have elevated above the other 2. Those represent abundance of feelings for close friends. Could be one in particular that we feel particularly close to. The B.O.T.A, which is the 3rd Sephiroth, which the card is associated with. Again, that's been called the Great Sea, which we see here at the bottom of the card, and that's associated with the feminine. And the cups, by their very nature, are receptive, and so both of these support each other, so we have a very harmonious card in that respect. Okay, so we'll go to a few quotes from Crowley, and he says, Mercury is the will or word of the All-Father, hence its influence descends upon the most receptive of all signs, Cancer. So he's talking about the positive communication between the will and the receptive nature of Cancer. He also says that the pomegranate was the fruit from which Persephone ate in the realms of Pluto. thereby enabling him to hold her into the lower worlds even after the gods had tried to free her. So the lesson seems to be that all good things in life, although enjoyed, should be distrusted. Okay, finally, if we put all that into a divinatory setting, this card basically represents sharing your success and joy with friends. Life feels good and not short of necessities. It could also represent the birth of a child, an idea or a goal. And it represents a good time to communicate your abundance of feelings for those important in your life and express yourself. A great time for you to communicate what nurtures you and motivates and uplifts you, and also this can be passed on to other people to help them, to nurture them, to motivate them. And finally, just to enjoy your riches at the moment, but be aware that they do have their limitations, so don't get lost in them, just see them for what they are. I think that's what the mythology is trying to say, that all good things do have probably the potential for you to be just absorbed in them and basically to have really strong attachments to them. So if this card, for instance, becomes ill-dignified, you'll probably have too much extravagance in your life at the moment, or what you're communicating to others is not uplifting or nurturing them. So you would need to take a step back and look at what is stopping you having your life full of abundance in a healthy way. So all in all, it's a great card to have, but just watch your attachments to nice things, basically. Lastly, we'll do a wrap with aspecting this with other cards. Okay, on to the last section of the video, and we'll just be looking at the Three of Cups in a more divinatory type setting. So as I indicated previously, lots of good things about this card. It indicates the abundance through close friendships and partnerships where there's a strong bond, and this bond between other people actually helps to achieve things for us. So it's emphasising the richness that can be gained through friendships and the productivity. Some of the parts is greater than the whole type of thing. It can also indicate a physical birth, or sometimes just the birth of something that is emotionally important to us. The shadow side of the card would be spreading yourself too thin, having too many friendships, and to the point where you're sort of masking, feeling comfortable in your own space. And also something that Crowley says, which is basically getting too caught up in success. And I know sometimes he's criticised for being negative, but his goal is to focus people on the spiritual. And obviously when he sees windows that people go through that diverts them away from the main spiritual path, then he likes to point out the pitfalls of where this can happen, and that's a particular pitfall with this card. Okay, we'll quickly pair it with a few cards. So abundance and futility. Futility obviously is the subconscious negative tapes that run in our head that inhibit us from moving forward. So lots of self-doubt getting in the way of friendships and getting in the way of us cooperating with others. So we would need to have a look at what sort of things that are going on in our heads, which is actually holding us back at the moment from really sharing our potential with other people and letting other people in our lives as well in a positive way. Dominion here is a different type of card, and that's in a sense almost the opposite of the previous card, and it's all about exerting yourself through Mars in Aries there, and it's about going out and making sure that you don't lose sight of your individuality when you're going out and meeting people and working in partnerships with people. So So that's all about holding your ground and holding your own space. And finally we could look at the gain card, which is a 9 of discs, and these two pair very, very nicely together, both stable cards. And that would be emphasizing the gain aspect of working with others harmoniously to produce the things that you want in life. Again, quite materially orientated, these two, so that's something to bear in mind when you're giving a reading, depending on what the client's situation is. Okay, I hope that helps, gives you some perspectives on the Three of Cups. Eventually we will go to do Celtic Cross spreads when we go through the relevant 10 cards I need for that. So thanks for watching, and I will see you again. Take care, bye.